Hey everybody, it is Doug, and I want to do a video on an old school G-Shock, my 7900. Sometimes it's called the Rescue, and then this one, it's actually the white version. And I also want to compare it to some of the newer versions like this GM 5600. So buckle up, let's go old school. All right, so let's check out the 7900. This is actually, I think, my favorite G-Shock of all time. I think I've had like 5 of these. I first had a red one, then I got the white one, then I got a black one, then I got a blue one, and then this white one again. So I've had this watch in and out of my rotation for probably 10, 11 years or so. Things I absolutely love about this watch. Well, first of all, it is so legible. And I mean, even someone like myself whose eyesight is kind of going a little bit, I can easily read time, date. Of course, it even, well, one of the things, that's really, really so sweet about this, it has the moon phase, which is right about like almost 10 o'clock, if you will. And in fact, as you can see here, and today is September 3rd, but there is no moon tonight, so it's all blacked out in that orange circle. But another neat thing about it is right beside that, there's kind of that little wave pattern, and that is quite literally the waves. It's the tide, high tide and low tide. And I live in South Carolina, so I have it synced up for my coastal area here, and really, really neat because I know exactly when it's high tide or low tide. And but as I said, very, very legible. Just very, very neat watch. It has like where the G is, that's the big button for turning on the light. But and of course this thing is crazy huge. But once again, it definitely makes a statement, and in this white color, it definitely makes a big statement. But comparing that to some of the newer G-Shocks, which mind you, I love these too. So this is my GM 5600, and if you really think about it, this is as old school as it really gets because this goes back to the 80s, but just kind of the refresh of these and how they are. Yeah, they're obviously smaller compared to the huge growth spurt that G-Shock seemed to have in the late 90s and the first 10 years of the 2000s. But like I said, a little bit more svelte on these things, but definitely not as many functions. The functions on this thing it's just amazing what all this does, and I'll kind of go through that in a moment for you. But yeah, just kind of interesting how this always was a G-Shock to me, and then now we're kind of doing these types of things. They're getting fancier and fancier, whereas this, I mean, I probably spent like $70 on this, and any of these things are like $150, $200 now. So like I said, quite a difference on what G-Shocks used to be compared to what they are now. But let's look at this one in more detail. So let's look at this with a little bit more detail. Here's your adjust button, here's your mode button down here. Here is your start stop, and you'll see that with the stopwatch and timer and so on. And then this one, I don't even remember what this one is. And unfortunately, I don't have my glasses and I can't read it. But I'll show that to you in a moment. But and then here is this. This is the light, and I'll show that in a darker room. But really, really neat how with this, of course, you do have your moon phase. You do have with that little wave pattern right beside it. That's your high and low tide, and then above that is the day, and then of course you've got your time with running seconds, and then the date down below. But as we go through the modes, the next one is actually this is actually the moon phase. So here we are at 0.3. So once again, if you look how the moon is totally dark, that means there's no moon. So when it was 0, that means 0 moon, and then it will go through the moon phase. Then the next one is stopwatch number 1. And as we were saying before, this here is like the start, and then the stop, and then this one here. reset for you. Oh, and one of the neat things that most G-Shocks don't have, and this is really where I love some of like this era of G-Shocks, they're actually functionally nicer in many ways. But here we are, we got the stopwatch running, and if you'll notice there, but oops, when I clear it, it actually has the time down below. See how it says 4:49? And then the next one is stopwatch 2. So it actually has 2 stopwatches. And then we've got our, this is our countdown timer. So I just have it set for 45 minutes. So this will start that countdown. And once again, you can reset it. And then the very next one is for an alarm. So, and there's multiple alarms. And also it does the signal, which the signal is when it goes beep beep at 12, for each hour. So, and I usually do have that set on my G-Shocks, including these ones too. But, so you've got multiple alarms. This is world time. So you have, and if we look here, I actually have mine set for Rome. And right now it's 10:50 in Rome. And of course it even has the date there too. And then now we're back to the current time, but very easy, and the functions are very, very easy. The buttons are absolutely huge on this, so no trouble pushing these. Whereas like the 5600s and so on, the buttons are usually really, really small. But this one, once again, kind of diving down a little bit deeper. It's kind of like a bone white, very, very, I'm not going to say gray, but it's not like a pure white either. So like I said, it's kind of like a bone white with the blue or almost navy, trim pieces to it. It does have these little wings. So during this era, they were trying to make it seem more comfortable. And so it would like pinch hairs and things like that when you have hair on your wrist, like mine. It does have a metal buckle, tang. And this, you can flip this either way. So you can either have like a slot, or you can flip it over so it's got like 2 holes. Very, very malleable and very, very comfortable. But once again, just tons of features, tons of functions on this. And once again, the price point of these, when they were, like I said, brand new, they're like $70 or so. And you can still find these on Amazon and other sources. So my girlfriend actually bought this to me because, as I had said earlier, I had multiples of these, and I was saying to her how much I missed the 7900, and I think it was for Valentine's Day, this year, 2024, she actually went out and found this one, because the one that I really missed the most was the white one, and she went out and got it, and like these are pretty tough to find now, the white ones especially. So I was very happy to receive this. So let's see how it illuminates. So once again, you just press the little G button, and that lights up big time. Super duper easy to read. You can schedule it or have it set that it either stays lit for 1 second, or in my case, I have it set for 3 seconds. You can also have it set where when it's on your wrist, if you turn as though you're going to be like looking at the clock or looking at your watch, once it goes past a certain degree, it's like 60 degrees or so, it actually lights up. I don't have mine scheduled for that because it is constantly going on and on and on. But so I don't have mine scheduled for that or set for that, but you can. But once again, the illumination on this thing is fantastic. One of the things I like to do is to show from a little bit of distance how the watches fit on the wrist. And my wrist is 7¼ inches or 184 millimeters. But here's the 7900. Once again, it's very, very proud on there. But it's so comfortable. It's so light. You don't really. It's not like you bang into things that much, and I think it actually looks really, really good. Even though it's a big, big watch. And as a comparison, here is, of course, the GM 5600, which is much, much lower, on the wrist. guess in terms of the actual like diameter, well, this one is still even bigger in terms of diameter, but both of them look, I think, really, really nice. So, and I think this, it's funny, my girlfriend, Tamitha, she was saying, whenever you wear the white watch, she thinks my hands and my arms look bigger. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more of a, like a manly watch. But here they are and what they look like on the wrist together. And here is my famous steering wheel pics or videos. So you can see how she looks as you're driving. So thank you so much for watching my video and going down memory G-Shock lane with me with the 7900. I hope you liked it. I still think that this is probably my favorite G-Shock of all of them. And I'm just so glad to have one back on the wrist. I hope you guys are all doing well. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.